licenses and inspections will now be called to order, having established quorum with our Vice Chair, Councilman Dom, to my right, Councilman Tollenberger, and to my left, Councilman Greenlee, who always beats everybody here. Will the clerk read the title of the one bill? Hold on for the record. What date is it? One 154. Okay. For the purposes of the record, bill number 160151 will be recessed to date certain June 11th at 1 p.m. That is the municipal ID bill. Will the clerk read the title of the bills under consideration?
Bill number 180174, an ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction Occupancy Code by adopting the 2015 edition of the International Residential Code as published by the International Code Council with previously adopted amendments thereto as adopted through the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code Act, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 180175, an ordinance amending Subcode A, the Philadelphia Administrative Code of Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, the Building Construction Occupancy Code, by revising and clarifying certain provisions, making corrections for compliance with the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code Act, and making technical changes all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 180176, an ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code by adopting the 2018 edition of the International Codes as published by the International Code Council with previously adopted amendments thereto as authorized by the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code Act to amend the following subcodes: Building Code, Existing Building Code, Energy Conservation Code, Fuel Gas Code, Mechanical Code, and Performance Code for buildings and facilities, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. I am going to have the administration come forward first, and then I have scheduled Amy Cornelius, Julian Boggs, David Muscatello, James Weber, and then written testimony for the record from the Green Building United, Bennett Levin, and Onion Flats. So we will start with our commissioner.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Cornelius Sanchez and members of the Committee on License and Inspections. My name is Michael Fink, and I serve as the Chief Code Official for the Department of License and Inspections. I am here to provide testimony on bills number 180174, 180175, and 180176. Which will amend Title IV of the Philadelphia Code entitled the Building Construction and Occupancy Code. You will find before you some technical amendments made by the Law Department related to the direction for the publisher to put these items into the Philadelphia Code. The City of Philadelphia is authorized by state law to enforce the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code, which is commonly known as the UCC, for the construction and alteration of buildings in Philadelphia. The UCC utilizes the various international codes as its technical basis. The UCC has been stalled in its adoption of any current edition of these technical international codes for nearly 10 years. Recent state legislation has revised the code adoption process, but it shows signs of continued negative impacts on the City of Philadelphia in the future. The three bills before this committee improve the city's position related to construction codes and send a message to the Pennsylvania General Assembly that Philadelphia's regulation of construction codes should be considered an exception under the state law. The technical codes which serve as the basis for our construction codes are developed at a national level through a government consensus process over a 3-year period. New editions are published every 3 years. In Pennsylvania, these codes are reviewed and approved for adoption statewide by a review and advisory council. The UCC has been utilizing the 2009 edition of the International Code since January of 2010. Efforts to update the 2012 and 2015 Technical Code editions have failed due to a requirement for this advisory council to reach a 2/3 majority vote, which was added by the Pennsylvania General Assembly in 2010. The General Assembly itself has made technical amendments to the international codes which perpetuate confusion in the construction industry. Additionally, the UCC requires automatic adoption of the most current accessibility code provisions. This results in a situation where this Department of License and Inspections must enforce provisions from 3 different codes in one project. The failure to adopt a current set of codes for construction has resulted in a reduced rating of the city's building code effectiveness by Insurance Services Office, also known as ISO. It has slowed construction development approvals and increased the number of appeals to our appeals board. On October 25, 2017, the Pennsylvania Act 37 made significant changes to the state's adoption process for the international codes. The most significant change for Philadelphia provided a one-time exception for the city to adopt the 2018 international codes for non-residential construction. The impact of each of the bills before you today is as follows. Bill number 180174, as amended by the Law Department, serves as a placeholder for residential construction code being formulated by the UCC Review and Advisory Council to be effective October 1st, 2018. Philadelphia is not authorized to deviate from the rest of Pennsylvania with this code. The language appears new in the bill because it is reformatted with a more simplistic presentation that is used in other large cities across the country. There are no new provisions other than those approved at the national level. City Council will be presented with a new bill regarding the residential code once the Advisory Council publishes its additional changes sometime after May 1st. Bill number 180175 makes several technical amendments to the administrative code, many of which are based upon the UCC, which has undergone numerous amendments of its administrative provisions since its adoption in 2004 that were never added to the Philadelphia Code. The bill also includes amendments which support a paperless permit and license application process in preparation for the department's implementation of its Eclipse software. Bill number 180176, which I believe is the most important bill before you today, allows for Philadelphia to adopt the 2018 international codes for non-residential construction as authorized by Act 36. Adoption of the 2018 international codes provides the following. Construction standards which use state-of-the-art technology, materials, research, construction practices, and risk mitigation. The latest energy efficiency provisions which represent cost savings over the life of the building. A single set of construction codes without state modifications that streamlines our regulatory review process. Consistency beginning in January 2019 with the state's required accessibility provisions. And access to current training and certification programs for staff. Most importantly, adoption of the 2018 international codes allows Philadelphia to prove to the Pennsylvania General Assembly that our construction differs from anything else in Pennsylvania and warrants an ongoing exception from the UCC and its modifications at the state level. Like Bill 180174, this bill includes all of the existing state and local amendments to the international code. The language appears new in this bill because it was drafted to be consistent with the 2018 codes and its numbering system and has been reformatted in a more simplistic presentation. There are no new provisions other than those approved at the national level. It is extremely important that we act quickly to adopt these new codes and inform the construction and development communities. Projects currently being designed will only have until April 1st, 2019 to obtain permits under the old 2009 code. This was another change made at the state level that negatively impacts the large development projects that happen in Philadelphia. On a personal note, I would like to thank City Council for its support in getting the General Assembly to agree to the amendment that was put in Act 36 that allowed us to take this step forward today. So I thank you for the opportunity to provide the department's testimony, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate the fact that this has been an expedited review. I'm going to recognize Councilman Heenan, who is the author of this bill and our representative in Harrisburg, to speak a little bit to the rapid nature of this, and then I'll ask you any questions.
Thank you.
Councilman Heenan?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your testimony. And, first, this has been a process that we've been waiting for 9 years here in the city of Philadelphia. It was accosted and over a hostile repeal of legislation in Harrisburg with bad intent and political motivations that now is finally, with a lot of support with this body, I think, started the conversation on how do we, as a city of first class who does a lot of construction, who does a lot of property maintenance, able to enforce, some of the newer codes. And, the process was, it was turned around backwards, and it really kind of stalled, I think, development, throughout not just the city, but at the Commonwealth at the level it deserves. So we started this process at the end of 2016, as you said, and all members of the council agreed, passing a resolution here, urging the state assembly to update its construction codes. Finally, as a result of that, with L&I support, that we were able to carve ourselves out for the latest published international codes, which is important. I mean, we've gone through a heck of a lot here in the city of Philadelphia when it comes to having our code enforcers, who are understaffed, going out there with many books, What codes, do we, you have architects, you have code enforcers, which is L&I, and, we're trying to train them in 2015, and now it's going to be 2018, thank the Lord. But we could only enforce legally 2009, so there's no predictability, there's no standards that I think that everybody advertises on when it comes to energy efficiencies and the energy codes in the city of Philadelphia. So you have developers, owners, everybody advertising, the things that we try to promote as a sustainable city. We don't have the enforcement power because we weren't allowed, because of a ruthless, successful change of repealed legislation in Harrisburg. So with that being said, today is just a culmination of that process, and it'll allow us to adopt a 9-year-old code, state-of-the-art code that promotes sustainability, energy efficiency, and modern materials for fire protection. And as we move forward with this code, as introduced, with the amendment here, in the future, specific requirements that we will follow the state process for amending the code. So it's basically a one-time shot until the state legislature authorizes us again to enact codes on ourselves. So I want to thank Ellen. I want to thank you personally for the last several months and really trying to make sure that things are consistent and things are in place when it comes to the future of development of the city of Philadelphia. And of course, the Madam Chair of this committee, who is well informing all the members of this body. So thank you, and I look forward to the conversation here today and seeing this thing passed.
Thank you, Councilman. As you know, that again, we appreciate the support that you've given us. As you know, we attempted to get ourselves extracted completely out of the UCC, but the General Assembly limited our exception to this one-time exception. We are hoping through this effort and a successful implementation that we can prove to the rest of the Commonwealth that we can function under a different set of codes and control our own destiny when it comes to the technical codes under the UCC. But this is the one shot at this that the General Assembly was willing to give us, and we hope to, as you said, go back to them and ask for a longer extension.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fink. And again, Commissioner Fink, Councilman Heenan and his representation introduced this bill. We held a briefing among City Council. This is a lot of technical code stuff. And we understand that it impacts a little bit of the process for staff training, particularly as we cross-train. What will happen over the next few weeks once this happens in terms of us preparing not only ourselves internally, but externally with the partners around notification?
So the department already has a training schedule put together for from now through August that will train technical staff on the 2018 codes. It's a transition course that will take them through the changes that occurred in 2012, 2015, and 2018. All of the over 150 people have already been trained in the primary code, which is the International Building Code. And we have other classes in the other editions of the code scheduled. We are working with our partners to expand the attention to the design professional community, the contractor community, BOMA, BIA, in exploring other training opportunities and other public education opportunities that will advance this movement further so that we're fully prepared beginning on October 1st. The time sensitivity of this is that the state will move to adopt the 2015 codes on October 1st of 2018. So if we are not in place by that time, we will be operating under the 2015 code as amended at the state level, which provides great confusion. So that's why we need to have this in place and notify designers and contractors that this is coming so that they can design their projects appropriately in preparation for that drop dead date of April 1st of 2019.
In your testimony, you allude to the fact that we will be receiving, after May 1st, 2018, some introductions around the residential code after the advisory board publishes. Can you speak to that?
Sure. The Review and Advisory Council right now is discussing modifications at the state level to the 2015 residential code. Councilman Heenan is directly aware of that based upon his service on the Review and Advisory Council. I have seen a number of amendments that they are considering. The final vote from that Review and Advisory Council won't be made until at least May 1st. Then it needs to go through a process through Labor and Industry and at the state level and developing regulations that will be published sometime before October 1st of 2018. Once we have those final regulations, we will prepare another ordinance for City Council that incorporates those changes made at the state level, because again, we do not have control over those, and ask that Council put them into the Philadelphia Code. When we have all of our state and local amendments in one code in Philadelphia, it's easier for designers to find that information and to prepare their projects accordingly. When modifications are made at the state level and not incorporated in the Philadelphia Code, designers tend to miss that fact, and it trips up the development approval process and slows down development in a city.
Okay. Can you speak to a little bit your internal process as both you and the councilman worked on the preparation of this, the communication between some of our stakeholders, BIA and others, to get to where we are today?
So over the past few years, we have worked with the GBCA, the Development Workshop, the BIA, AIA, Green Building United, and many others who are interested in changing codes. We are actually the envy of much of the rest of Pennsylvania because we have the ability to move this quickly. So everyone has been informed. They all know that we have a one-time opportunity to make this change, that we cannot make other changes related to the international codes because that's a different process. That the state code, when it amended through Act 36, the ability for Philadelphia to take this one-time exception, it eliminated some of the steps in the typical municipal code change process that's required under the Uniform Construction Code. So we do not need to get Pennsylvania Labor and Industry approval for these changes. We are not subject to an appeal at the state level for these changes, that these are national changes that people in each of those organizations that I've mentioned have already recognized that they will, in some cases, increase costs and in some cases decrease costs. But in the long run, will put the city in a better place.
Any other questions from the panel? Seeing none, we'll move to our public testimony. Amy Cornelius, Julian Boggs, and David Muscatello. And Commissioner, we'll ask you to hang on.
Certainly.
Thank you. You can state your name for the record and proceed.
My name is Amy Cornelius. Good afternoon to the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Philadelphia is a national leader in addressing climate change impacts and in sustainability. Modernizing the commercial building codes is a key strategy to ensure that the city meets its aspirational goal of reducing carbon emissions by 80% by the year 2050. The PADEP states that the adoption of modern building codes provides the single most cost-effective and expeditious means of achieving reductions in energy-related greenhouse gases emissions in the building sector. But it's not just a question of mitigating the effects of climate change. It's also about the health and safety of people living and working in the built environment, about environmental equity for all Philadelphians, and about job creation within the city. Adopting the latest building codes ensures that new construction is safer and more resilient to the effects of climate change by specifying climate-appropriate building materials and construction practices. The indoor air quality, or IAQ, and ventilation requirements, as well as the use of healthful building materials, leads to reduced asthma rates and healthier, happier, and more productive building occupants. Up-to-date codes reflect recent technological advances in safe construction practices, designs for safer evacuation and sequestration, incorporation of materials and testing for safer occupancy, and firefighter health. All Philadelphians should have the right to the best built environment possible that is durable, resilient, and carries the lowest operating and maintenance costs. Up-to-date codes also provide opportunities for increasing skill sets through training and opportunity for job growth in new construction and renovations. The Pennsylvania State Legislature has granted Philadelphia an unprecedented opportunity to adopt the 2018 International Codes for commercial and multifamily buildings for both new construction and major renovations. This update would strengthen Philadelphia's leadership position in the state and in a competitive stance vis-a-vis neighboring states. I urge the committee to recommend that City Council pass Bill 180176 before the summer recess so that all of us in the design and construction industries can get to work with training for and designing the best built environment for Philadelphia. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and if you have any questions for me, I am available.
We'll let the next speaker. Are you Julian or are you David?
Yes, I am Julian.
Okay. I don't have written testimony from you, or did you?
You should, yes.
Okay. I have Amy's. David. Oh, Key? Okay. All right. Key Energy Efficiency
Yes.
Alliance? Okay.
Great.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Chairperson Cornelius Sanchez, members of the committee, my name is Julian Boggs. I'm the Policy Director for the Keystone Energy Efficiency Alliance, or KEA. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. KEA is a Pennsylvania-based trade association representing the energy efficiency industry. Our membership consists of a large swath of companies and associations, a number of whom based here in the greater Philadelphia area, engaged in the energy efficiency industry. They include engineering firms, architects, energy service providers, equipment manufacturers, large energy users, among others. According to a 2017 study by the U.S. Department of Energy, Pennsylvania accounted for over 62,000 energy efficiency jobs in 2016, and nearly 20,000 of those jobs in Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. Kia supports passage of Bill 180176, authorizing the adoption of the 2018 building codes for commercial new construction and major renovations, because it will ensure that commercial buildings constructed in Philadelphia leverage state-of-the-art energy efficiency technologies that will help Pennsylvania's businesses and citizens save energy and money on their utility bills. Energy efficiency technologies can be leveraged at any point during the stage of a building's life cycle, and our member companies are more than ready to allow that to happen. However, the design and construction phase of the project or a major renovation is the most cost-effective by far, and these savings are locked in for decades. The inverse of looking at that is that if we fail to adopt the most energy-efficient codes, those savings are lost for decades as buildings will continue to waste energy over the course of their life cycle. The Department of Energy estimates that a commercial building constructed in 2018 codes can consume nearly 30% less energy than those constructed under the current 2009 codes. This bill gives Philadelphia an incredible opportunity to lead the state in commercial building, and Kia urges the council to seize this opportunity by adopting Bill 180176 before it recesses for the summer. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify. As well, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from our panel? Seeing none. Last person is David Muscatello. If there's anyone else here to testify? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is David Muscatello. I'm a resident of Philadelphia and a volunteer with the Ready for...
Hold on a second.
Oh, sorry.
My apologies, because some people just signed up. I have a John Lawyer and a Larry Williams. Okay, those are the okay. If you could join us up here so we can get moving. The other folks who, please register at the desk, because those are the only other two people I have. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. Muscatello, you can proceed.
Thank you, Councilwoman. My name is David Muscatello. I'm a resident of Philadelphia. I'm a volunteer with the Ready for 100% Renewable Energy Campaign of the Sierra Club, and also with the Southeastern Pennsylvania group of the Sierra Club. And I'd like to thank the council members on the Committee of License and Inspection for the opportunity to testify today. I'm here to express my support for Bill 180176 to adopt the 2018 commercial codes in Philadelphia. Revising our outdated construction codes is vital to reducing the energy footprint of large commercial and multi-unit residential buildings, and absolutely essential to achieving Mayor Kenny's goal of 80% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. I'd also like to add that given the local asthma rate and the fact that Philadelphia still has a smog problem, how much of which we're still waiting for the EPA to tell us, that it's also key to reducing ozone and other air pollution for the benefit of the health of all Philadelphians. The primary reason to update our codes, of course, is so important is that what we build today will be around for decades, if not a century. I don't know how much of today's building will be around for a century, but I live in a 112-year-old row house, so it happens. Since buildings consume 60% of the energy used citywide, and the EPA reports that 30% of that energy is wasted, achieving significant energy savings and reducing greenhouse gas emissions must address building efficiency. Delaying the adoption of the 2018 codes to 2022 would lock in the energy waste for whatever is built in that interim for decades to come. Aside from minor updates such as switching out incandescent bulbs for compact fluorescent or LEDs, retrofitting buildings for increased energy efficiency is generally significantly more expensive than incorporating efficiency in the original construction. In the case of heating, it may be virtually impossible to substitute a more efficient heating and cooling system in a large commercial building that relies on, say, natural gas, for example. Indeed, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection has found that adoption of modern codes provides the single most cost-effective and expeditious means of achieving reductions in energy-related greenhouse gas emissions in the building sector. Thus, continuing to construct less efficient buildings in the near term essentially locks in that efficiency for decades to come. It will not only make it impossible to achieve long-term energy use reduction goals, it may make Philadelphia less competitive in the future relative to other localities that have embraced efficient construction codes more earlier than we do, such as New Jersey. And I would also like to express my support for Bills 180174 and 180175, which move to adopt the residential code provisions and administrative code, respectively. Thank you for addressing this important issue and for allowing me to testify today.
Name for the record and proceed.
Yes, my name is Larry Williams. I'm Executive Director of the Steel Framing Industry Association. My members include such small companies as U.S. Steel and ArcelorMittal and a number of other companies that produce materials and construct buildings, and a number of which are in the city of Philadelphia. I wanted to speak to Bill number 180176. If you open the cover of the building codes, it will state that the purpose of the codes is to protect, one of the purposes is to protect public safety. And we think that the adoption of 180176 is really a very good step forward. You know, modern building codes do, by and large, represent improvements to technology and systems and methods. However, one of the unintended consequences that we see that's been introduced in the building codes are the result of changes that were adopted in the 2006-2007 building codes, which dramatically increased the size and area of buildings allowed to be built with combustible framing products. We've seen the results of that in places across the river in New Jersey and in a number of cities around the country. So we think that the adoption of these provisions is a good step forward, but it's only a first step. And we look forward to working with the city and others to addressing other provisions that we think could improve the safety of the buildings for the residents of Philadelphia.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. My name is John Moyer. I oversee a coalition called Build with Strength. We are a nationwide coalition of building product manufacturers that represent the most resilient, fire-safe, and cost-effective building materials on the market. And locally, our coalition includes Cement Masons Local 592, Ironworkers Local 405, the Philadelphia Metal Trades Council, the Bricklayers and Allied Crafts Local 1, Heat and Frost Insulators and Allied Workers Local 14, Sheet Metal Workers Local 19, Teamsters Local 830, the Philadelphia Jewish Labor Committee, the Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, all their related organizations and members, Philadelphia Fire Department Foundation Citizens for Fire Prevention, Jerry Jordan, the president of the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers, the former Philadelphia Fire Commissioner Derek Sawyer, and several board members of the Philadelphia Fire Department Foundation. We are also in concurrent discussions with dozens of other local Philadelphia-based organizations to join the coalition. We advocate for things like 2-hour firewalls taken all the way to the roof, the use of non-combustible building materials, including but not limited to fire-treated lumber, concrete, and steel in mid-rise construction. Changes in height and area limitations such that the podium or pedestal on the first or second floor of a 4 to 7 story building counts as a floor above grade and is measured from the lowest point of firefighter access. Changes in sprinkler standards adoption from NFPA 13R to full NFPA 13, a 24-hour fire watch while the building is being constructed, signage on the outside of the building that allows the fire department to easily determine the structural components contained therein. In addition, we are currently working with the City Council in Los Angeles and the entire state of New Jersey, where the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the Assembly are co-sponsors of our legislation there, advocating for such measures. The cities of Chicago, New York City, the state of New Jersey, the state of Maryland, and many cities in the state of Georgia are currently also looking at measures that I have just mentioned. There are 55 suburbs around the city of Chicago, and New York City that currently ban light-framed combustible construction in the built environment. There are 830 on average fires a year in mid-rise construction related to light-frame buildings. Recent fires include the city of Westchester near Philadelphia, where a resident died in a nursing home, Edgewater and Maplewood, New Jersey, College Park, Maryland, the Da Vinci fire in Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado, Raleigh, North Carolina, Overland Park, Kansas, Waltham, Massachusetts, plus 4 other municipalities in Massachusetts in the last 6 months. And what my colleague to my right from the steel industry referred to as some changes that were made in the building code since 2003 in terms of trade-offs are exactly what is causing this problem. I have been made privy to a letter that Commissioner Perry wrote to Council President Clark indicating that our measures would be discussed as early as the spring in terms of another update that the city is considering. I would make one clarification to that letter. This is not about high-rise construction. This is about mid-rise construction. High-rise construction is already non-combustible, and therefore we advocate for the same systems of construction in mid-rise. Other than that, we applaud the city for the adoption of 180176. After all, my official title is Vice President of State and Local Government Affairs for the National Ready-Mix Concrete Association. We make all the concrete in the world. And we applaud your update, we applaud your foresight, and we look forward to partnering with you and working with you on a further update in the spring.
Thank you. Yes, and the letter to the council president dated April 18th will be put in the official record, and let me inform you that it says mid-level and high-rise level building in the letter.
No problem. The only point of clarification there is that high-rise is already what we advocate for.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate that, and that will be added to the record. Any questions of this panel? Seeing none, Tim McDonald and John Peter McDonald. Oh, wow. How cool. After that, I have a Lindsay Lasky, Katie Bartolota, so they should be standing by, and then Alan Abramson and Helen Lewis. I had a James Weber. Is that person here? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. You want to come next because you were on our original list. And this young man, you want to get started? Your name for the record and proceed.
Maybe I'll start and he can follow. My name is Tim McDonald. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I would like to provide my support for Bill 180176 to adopt the 2018 commercial codes in Philadelphia. I'm a developer, architect, and builder in Philadelphia, and our company, Onion Flats, has been developing sustainable buildings in the city since 1997 and demonstrated that it's possible for others to do so affordably. Some of the awards we've won in that time are the 2016 DVGBC Groundbreaker Award, the 2014 Sustainable Business of the Year Award, and the 2009 Philadelphia Sustainability Award. We have been pushing for code reform for over a decade at the municipal, state, and federal levels because we know that buildings are responsible for almost 50% of all greenhouse gas emissions, and that if we are to seriously address the commitments that Philadelphia, along with 400 other cities, has made to the Paris Climate Agreement goals, we must begin by adopting the 2018 Commercial Code now. Onion Flats is walking the walk on these commitments through our work. In October of 2017, we completed the largest Passive House certified net zero energy multifamily project in Philadelphia called The Battery. It is a 25-unit apartment building in Northern Liberties, uses 80% less energy than current code buildings, and was built cost-effectively. This project demonstrates that high-performance buildings, as those promoted in the 2018 Commercial Code, are not something affordable in the future, but in present everyday development. Similarly, our Thin Flats project, built directly across the street from the Battery, was also built affordably, and in 2009 became the first LEED Platinum duplexes in the country, and was awarded the 2010 Global Award of Excellence by the Urban Land Institute, which identifies only 5 projects from around the world that exemplify workable, livable, and sustainable models of future development. For over 10 years, we've been demonstrating that high performance does not have to come at a high cost. In 2012, we demonstrated this most clearly by co-developing the Belfield Townhouses project in the Logan section of Philadelphia, an affordable housing community for formerly homeless families, and a common sense model of truly affordable and sustainable housing. It became the first Passive House certified net zero energy capable project in Pennsylvania and a recipient of the City Paper's 2012 Big Vision Award for Sustainability and Design. After developing this project within the same budget that other affordable housing developers have, we were motivated to promote a policy initiative with the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, which to date has funded over 900 units of Passive House net zero energy capable affordable housing units in Pennsylvania. The 2018 Commercial Code will make projects like this commonplace and continue to promote Philadelphia as the greenest city in the country. Thank you.
In the spring of 2014, along with a group of approximately 25 stakeholders composed of affordable housing developers, representatives from the Sustainability Housing Authority and mayor's offices of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, as well as Passive House architects, designers, and builders, we gathered to meet.
Your name for the record, his name, I'm sorry.
I'm Jack Peter McDonald.
Okay, proceed.
Do I start over? In the spring of 2014, along with a group of approximately 25 stakeholders composed of affordable housing developers, representatives from the Sustainability Housing and Authority and mayor's offices of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, as well as Passive House architects, designers, and builders, we gathered to meet in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to propose to PHFA that they initiate a project which would have all affordable housing in Pennsylvania to be designed and constructed to a net zero energy capable standard by 2030. The tool proposed to achieve this was Passive House. PHFA was already looking to raise the bar with respect to energy efficiency, as developers had been surpassing their standards for years. PHFA welcomed the challenge and within 4 months put the project in motion by introducing language into their 2015 Qualified Allocation Plan, which incentivizes developers interested in 9% low-income housing tax credit funding to design, construct their projects to meet the rigorous Passive House standard. To do this, they created a new category worth 10 points for Passive House certification. The LIHTC application is a point-based system and extremely competitive. Because PHFA funds only 25% of all project applications each year based primarily on highest point scores, the interest from developers was enormous. 85 multifamily project applications were received in the 2015 round of funding. 32 of those projects applied as Passive House projects. The construction cost premium calculated between Passive House projects and non-Passive House projects across the state of Pennsylvania was 2.5%. Of the 39 projects that were awarded funding, 7 are Passive House projects and all completed. In July 2016, PHFA awarded 10 Passive House projects, 500 units, and the cost differential between the Passive House projects was 2% less on average to the non-Passive House projects. These over 900 new affordable affordable housing units is the largest concentration of passive house net zero energy capable dwellings in the country. Pennsylvania is already doing it. This is why we need to pass the 2018 Commercial Code. Any questions?
I want to thank you for your presentation. Any questions from the panel? Councilman Tollenberger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Jack, is it? What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th grade.
What school?
I go to Greenwoods Charter School,
Okay.
and I will be going to Penn Charter next year.
Well, that's excellent. I just want to commend you on an excellent testimony. I think it's great if you need a note for your teacher, because you should get some extra credit here. I'd be happy to sign that, and I think most of my colleagues here would as well. That was well done, and thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts on this most important piece of legislation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. So, no more questions? Oh, Councilman Dahman. Apologies.
I just want to add to my colleague, Councilman Tollenberger, I was voting no on this until I heard your presentation. And that convinced me to vote yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you and congratulations to Onion Flats. You know, we've only heard great things, and hopefully I'll get you guys to build on my side of the district at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay Lasky. Wait, James Weber first, because I keep skipping him. James, would you come up here, please, from Lutron Electronics? And then I'm going to have Lindsay Lasky and Katie Bartolota. We have your written testimony, so feel free to summarize if you want.
My name is James Weber, Engineering Software Leader for Lutron Electronics. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Committee on Licenses and Inspections. Lutron is an electronics product manufacturer headquartered in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania, and is one of the largest employers in the Lehigh Valley. Lutron has an office just blocks from here in Philadelphia. Lutron is a classic American success story. The company was established in 1961 after Joel Spira, our founder, invented the first solid-state dimmer, which saved energy instead of wasting it. We now offer more than 17,000 energy-saving products sold in more than 100 countries around the world. We make everything from dimmers for the home to light management systems for entire commercial buildings. In the United States alone, Lutron products save an estimated 10 billion kilowatts of electricity, or approximately 1 billion in utility costs per year. The company's early inventions, including the first solid-state dimmer invented by Joel Spira, Lutron's founder, are now in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. Lutron believes the adoption of the latest state codes is critical to the health of Pennsylvania's manufacturing sector. In particular, the latest Building Energy Code, IECC 2018, provides new technologies to help Philadelphia businesses save energy and money. Adoption of the up-to-date codes affects our business, the economy of Philadelphia, and the welfare of Philadelphians in these primary ways. Cost and energy savings. The initial purchase price of a building is only the beginning. Owners also must pay for operational and maintenance costs, like utility bills, throughout the building's lifespan. A building constructed today will last 70 years or more, so designing a building to the latest energy codes provides many years of energy savings and lower operating costs. Lighting controls, like those made by Lutron right here in Pennsylvania, play a crucial role in those energy savings. Lighting controls can drastically reduce the energy use of a building by eliminating 60% or more of wasted lighting energy, while enhancing occupancy, comfort, and productivity at the same time. They provide flexible control over the lighting in the space and support energy savings by reducing the amount of power or amount of time the lighting system is in use. The latest ICC Building Energy Code, IECC 2018, recognizes the importance of lighting controls by incorporating many cost-efficient mandatory lighting control provisions. What's more, IECC 2018 has been shown to be at least 32% more efficient than current energy code in Pennsylvania, IECC 2009. And a building designed to IECC 2018 is 6.8% more energy efficient than one designed to the IECC 2015 code. Thus, adoption of the 2018 code will save Philadelphian building owners and tenants significant amounts of money over the life of a building and help Philadelphia achieve its energy efficiency goals. Additionally, this will also help us with investment and jobs. The investment decision of Pennsylvania companies for research and development, purchase of capital equipment, and jobs are often based upon nationwide adoption of the latest codes. When those codes are not adopted or adoption is delayed, decisions to make those investments and hire employees are negatively impacted. New technologies such as energy-saving lighting controls have been gaining traction over the past few years, largely due to demand created by building energy codes. For instance, the IECC 2018 Building Energy Code has new requirements beyond those of the IECC 2015 code for automatic lighting shutoff in open offices. Similarly, requirements for luminaire level lighting controls in the IECC 2018 code creates demand for energy-saving lighting fixtures with embedded daylight and occupancy sensors that brighten or dim the lights based on the amount of daylight in the space and whether the space is occupied or unoccupied. Lutron designs lighting control solutions to meet or exceed these requirements right here in Pennsylvania, including in the city of Philadelphia, where we develop software for our solutions. Delays in adopting the latest energy codes impedes the adoption of beneficial new technology and the demand for energy-saving products. This negatively impacts our business, the building owner and tenants who could financially benefit from the new technology, and the overall economy of Pennsylvania and the city of Philadelphia. We urge the committee to approve Bill 180176 to allow Philadelphia to lead the state and adopt the latest building energy code to help achieve the city's energy efficiency goals, provide lower energy bills to Philadelphia businesses, and support jobs in Pennsylvania and the city of Philadelphia. Thank you for allowing me to testify today. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you. I just want to recognize that Councilman Squilla has joined us. Councilman Dom, you have your light up. Did you have a question?
I have a question.
Okay, Councilman
Thank you,
Dom.
Madam Chair. Thank you for being, I just wanted to mention something. We have 3 district council people here, the chairman, Chairwoman Councilwoman Sanchez, Councilman Heenan, Councilman Squilla. And I happened to look at Lutron online. You're in Coopersburg, 50 miles from here. And I see you're advertising for like 90 jobs. I just want you to know that if you located your headquarters in one of their districts, we have the people here who can fill those jobs. You may want to think about that.
Noted, I will take that feedback.
Take that back, because we're happy to work with you seriously and bring you to Philadelphia. Thank you.
We specifically opened our office here in Philadelphia to attract the best talent that is available. We recognize that.
We need to
there is a
expand
lot.
that office in Philadelphia
Yes,
for more.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Councilman Heenan, who leads our manufacturing group, and I will be happy to show you all of the spaces we have, right, Councilman? Yes. Thank you. My apologies to Green Building United. You were listed as a written testimony, so Katie and Lindsay, if you want to proceed.
Great. Oh, good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Lasky. Thank you so much for the committee for hearing us today. I'm an engineer at Practical Energy Solutions. We're an energy consulting firm that serves the greater Philadelphia area. I'm here to speak in support of Bill 180176 in terms of the energy efficiency that it's going to bring for Philadelphia. So for our clients, we work with commercial institutional and municipal clients all over the city, and one of the most ubiquitous problems that we see is low consideration for how buildings are operated long-term. Typically, the owners will keep their upfront costs low and not include energy efficiency strategies. It ends up hurting them in the long run because their utility costs are often higher. So even though they're trying to save money up front, they typically end up paying more across the life cycle of the building. So we see the adoption of the 2018 codes as a really stronger bridge between how buildings are designed and constructed and how they're operating long term. And even though there might be some higher upfront costs initially, those will be quickly offset by lower operating costs in the long run. So irrespective of the economic and technical benefits from this bill, there are a lot of environmental benefits as well. I personally am here as an environmentalist and see a lot of really great impacts long term. We've seen, unfortunately, some of the consequences of some of these decisions, and this bill is a really great tool to show that we've learned from those and can include some of those long-term impacts of the future. So I personally hope that I'm not impacted by those and I live a long elderly life as far as the people I care about. So I think that this bill is a really great way to do that. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Katie? We have your written testimony. You may proceed.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairperson Pinone Sanchez and members of the Committee on Licenses and Inspections. My name is Katie Bartolotta, and I'm the Policy and Program Manager for Green Building United. Through education, advocacy, and strategic initiatives, Green Building United promotes the development of buildings that are sustainable, healthy for all inhabitants, resilient, and cost-effective. I thank you all for the opportunity to speak in support of Bill 180176 to modernize Philadelphia's building codes, and I promise not to read everything on the pages before you, because I'm sure you're all wondering. So this issue is of particular interest to Green Building United as our community of architects, engineers, policymakers, and advocates, developers, contractors, building managers, and more are instrumental in how buildings and communities are designed, built, and operated in our region. And while the topic of building codes is considered dense and dry to most, the impacts and benefits of updating to the latest code edition are significant and exciting for all Philadelphians. So by raising Philadelphia's minimum building standard to the latest codes edition, we can expect to, 1, save consumers money. So with the changes to the building design practices and materials with the latest code, modern code-compliant buildings are designed to be over 30% more efficient and also cheaper to operate than those in compliance with our current minimum building standards. So for residential tenants, the energy savings translates to lower utility bills for those living in newly constructed or retrofitted multifamily buildings, which are in many cases included within the scope of this bill. So this opportunity for utility cost savings is especially important in Philadelphia, where low-income households are among the most burdened by the amount of household income spent on energy in the United States. Number 2, we can expect improved safety and resiliency. So the effects of climate change are already underway in Philadelphia, and we must adapt as a city to those projections for hotter and wetter weather. The latest building codes ensure that new construction is safer and more resilient to these effects by specifying climate-appropriate building materials and construction practices. Number 3, we can expect to reduce our environmental impact in a cost-effective manner. I know you've all heard folks say this earlier, but over 60% of carbon emissions in Philadelphia originate in the building sector. So to slow the pace of climate change and to meet the city's goal to reduce carbon emissions 80% by 2050, there is no better way in terms of speed or cost-effectiveness to reach that goal than to adopt modern building codes. Number 4, we can lead as a city and gain independence from state control. The adoption of the 2018 commercial codes would position Philadelphia as a leader in modern code adoption on par with neighboring states. And this opportunity also ensures stability by removing the city from the volatile state-level code adoption process at least one time, and puts the decision-making back into the hands of local officials, which is all of you. So Philadelphia has the opportunity to lead while also benefiting the health, safety, and pocketbooks of its residents by passing Bill 180176 to modernize our building codes. We look forward to this bill being voted out of committee without amendment, along with its companions, Bills 180174 and 180175. For additional information or to speak with professionals within Green Building United's community, please do not hesitate to follow up with me. Thanks.
Thank you. I just want to add for the record that 5 years ago, we passed single sales factor. So if you're a manufacturer, whatever you sell in the global market, you don't pay your net profits tax. That was my bill 5 years ago. Just my last pitch. Thank you. Any questions from the panel? Seeing none, I have Alan Abramson and Helen Levin. And after that, I have no one else, if no one else stands, to testify on these bills.
Good
You may
afternoon.
proceed.
Great. Chairwoman Cornelius Sanchez and members of the Licenses and Inspections Committee, thank you very much for the time and the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Alan Abramson. I'm the manager for energy efficiency programs at the Philadelphia Energy Authority. I'm here to share PEA's strong support for Bill 180176, which will allow Philadelphia to accept a one-time jump ahead to the 2018 International Construction Code. The Energy Authority is particularly interested in the positive effects that the code change will have on energy efficiency in Philadelphia's booming development of commercial and multifamily buildings. Our mission at the Philadelphia Energy Authority is to drive energy affordability and sustainability for our city. As you may know, in February 2016, with the leadership of Council President Darrell Clark, we launched the Philadelphia Energy Campaign to this end. The campaign is a 10-year, $1 billion investment in energy efficiency and clean energy projects in city buildings, schools, low and moderate income housing, and small businesses citywide. The campaign will create 10,000 jobs and help build our city's clean energy economy. This bill is a critical component of the success of the energy campaign and of meeting Mayor Kenny's climate and carbon commitments. That is because 68% of Philadelphia's carbon footprint currently comes from buildings. And the 2018 codes will reduce the energy used in new construction and in major rehabs by more than 30% compared to today's building codes. That means that a family living in an apartment building that is built according to the new code requirements will spend 30% less on their utility bills. I want to be sure to stress how significant the cost reduction is here in Philadelphia, where our lowest earning families, those earning less than 30% of area median income, are spending upwards of 23% of their salary on their utility bill. That's more than any other income bracket. In fact, Philadelphia has one of the country's highest energy burdens. Families facing high utility bills and limited incomes are living in a state of energy insecurity, where they are forced to choose between keeping their homes adequately heated in the winter and cooled in the summer, or paying for basic necessities like food, rent, and medicine. This is not an isolated problem. According to recent data from the Federal Energy Information Administration, focused on urban areas in the Mid-Atlantic, more than half of African American households at all income levels reported facing energy insecurity for some part of the year. Along with 30% of renters, over 35% of households with children, and over 40% of households earning less than $20,000 per year. The 2018 codes take advantage of construction materials and techniques that have been in use for years and have been well vetted by the construction industry. In fact, the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency has been pushing developers to build to these or higher standards for years in order to be eligible for their financing, as you heard from the brilliant testimony earlier. New subsidized affordable housing is already held at a higher energy standard than regular developers. Adopting the 2018 code will also result in an update to the National Electrical Code, moving Philadelphia to the 2017 code, which improves fire safety across many parameters, including for new buildings that put solar on the roof. Philadelphia's solar market expanded by 46% in 2017, making now an important time to ensure that we have the strongest safety standards that recognize the latest technology. As the city of the first class, Philadelphia has the opportunity to lead the state and the region with modern building codes, support energy efficient new housing and commercial buildings, and ensure long-term affordability for the newest wave of development in our city. Thank you for your time today.
Good afternoon. My name is Helen Levins. I'm the Government Affairs Manager for the Pendle Jersey chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, also known as NECA. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to testify in support of the 2018 International Codes by passing Bill 180176 before summer recess. Just by way of background, the Pendle, Jersey chapter of NECA represents nearly 150 local electrical contractors that employ close to 10,000 people each year. Our biggest jurisdiction is here in Philadelphia, where we have about 50 contractor members, and we work in partnership with the IBEW Local 98 and 126, the line division. Our primary interest in updating to the 2018 international codes is because they contain the 2017 national electrical codes, which set the foundation for electrical safety. The NEC contains comprehensive guidance on electrical wiring, overcurrent protection, grounding, and installation of equipment. Currently, Pennsylvania is one of only 5 states nationwide using the 2008 national electrical codes, since Pennsylvania has not approved the ICC update since 2009. Updating to the 2018 ICC is a common sense action, and it's in NECA's interest. We're most concerned about public and building safety and the implementation of new electrical systems and equipment, such as, but not limited to, energy storage, large-scale solar, microgrids, energy management, wireless charging, and power over Ethernet. Philadelphia right now has the unique opportunity to adopt safe and efficient, up-to-date building codes that are in the best interest of everyone living and working in Philadelphia. As someone who represents NECA on the state and city level, I've experienced in Harrisburg, and I'd think that failing to take advantage of this one-time opportunity would be missing a great opportunity with Harrisburg to work on behalf of Philadelphia citizens and harm our ability to negotiate future exemptions from state legislative requirements. So I really just want to reinforce today that this is a unique opportunity that Harrisburg has given to us. We should take advantage of it, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Anybody from the panel have any questions? Seeing none, anyone else here to testify on this bill? Seeing none, the Committee on Licenses and Inspection will now move to its public meeting. As mentioned earlier, and I believe I need a motion for date certain for Bill 160151 to be moved to June 11th at 1 p.m. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dom for a motion.
Right here. Be held in committee. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Bill number 160151 be held in committee until June, is it 11th? Yes, until June 11th.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Seeing none, Bill 160151 will be heard on June 11th at 1 p.m. Thank you. The chair now recognizes Vice Chair for an amendment on Bill 180174 and an amendment on Bill 180176. The amendment has been circulated. Councilman Dom?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I move that the amendment to bills number 180174 and 180176 be adopted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any oppositions? Seeing none, the amendments to Bill 180174 and 180176 have been approved. Councilman Dom, can I get a motion for the approval of 180174 as amended, 180175, 180176 as amended?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I move that bill number 180174 as amended, 180175, and 180176 as amended be voted out of this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to allow first reading at our next session of council.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposition? Seeing none, the bills as read will be moved out of this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at our next public session. Thank you all. This concludes our hearing. Thank you all the folks who've come in and have testified.